Hey, what's up YouTube? It's a gray dingy Sunday here, so I figured I'd just make another quick video for you guys. We did one recently about amp sims, and I mentioned in it about cab sims. So let's go ahead and we'll do a quick demo of the kind of cab sims that you can employ. I've got a couple of free ones. We'll try a couple of them out and maybe do a couple of mixes quickly. Again, this is not to show you how to do a final mix. This isn't a full tutorial. It's just to give you guys a quick idea of what's out there and what you can get. Again, we're going to go with only free VST plugins. There's pay ones out there like everything else, but let's show you guys what you can do with things that you can get for free. So we'll switch over to my desktop and we'll go with that. All right, so we're back. You're seeing my desktop again. If you didn't watch the original video about the cab sims, this is my audio program, Sonar X2 Studio. Again, I'm not going into details about that today. Today is a video about cabinet simulators. And just free ones and a general idea of what you can do with these. I downloaded 3 free ones quickly. All 3 give different kind of possibilities. 2 are basically the same, just different companies. Different options, but comes out to the same. So we took that original project that I did for the amp sims. I kept 3 of the tracks, which were 3 of my favorite amp sims, basically. So we kept the 8505, the Rectifier, and the Ignite Amps Emissary, and I've gone ahead and applied a different of the 3 cabinet simulators that I downloaded. I say cabinet simulators, but one is really a cabinet simulator. It's kind of an all-in-one. The other 2 are a mix of cabinet impulses that you have to download separately, and then also a impulse loader, which you can technically also use to load up impulses of amps. I just like to keep the 2 separate. That's just me. I like to have my graphical interface for the amp head and then a separate graphical interface for the actual cabinets. I'm just used to working with physical stuff. It's just clearer and simpler for me. But anyway, so the first one here we're going to have is again the 8505. We'll just play that quickly to remind you guys what just the amp sim sounded like. Right, so we're not going to play the full samples. It gets a bit long, but that should give you a good idea to remind you that is what that amp simulator sounded like alone without anything on top of it. So for this first one, what I downloaded is the Mercurial Cab Simulator. So now you see here I've turned it on. So you've got the amp simulator and the cab simulator going. A couple of options here. So obviously high quality. I'm not quite sure why you'd ever want to not have it in high quality. I never record in stereo, so we're going to leave stereo alone. Maximize. I'm not quite sure what that does. Sounded good to me, so I clicked it. Didn't really make much of a difference, to be honest with you. And then in here, in this particular cabinet simulator, you're going to have a choice of the input tuning. I'm not quite sure what that actually means, but it sounded better to none. We'll go through a couple of different choices here for you guys, but the microphone and the microphone position. Again, this is free. It's a bit limited, but it should give you a good idea of what's possible. It doesn't sound bad, and it's, like I said, it's a couple of good options for something that's free. Let's go ahead and just play that quickly. So again, we'll just start it with out, and then I'll click on the actual cabinet simulator. So now, as you can tell, that sounds a lot more like if you'd mic'd up a cab, and probably something more like what you'd actually want to be hearing and recording. We'll start that over, and I'll go play with some of the options just to give you guys some ideas. there you go. That was my favorite sound of it. Now, what you would actually probably also want to do is then just take this track here and copy it. I just need to remember how to do that. Clone track. So we want to clone everything. So we would have a second track here, which would keep all of our plugins. And then what you can do would be to open the second one, and maybe you want a different mic to be mixed in with it and at a different position. So then that would sound something like this. Keeping in mind I'm doing this live, so I'm not going through the mixing and all that, but again, just to give you guys an idea. So again, it kind of thickens up the sound. It gives you a different sound than either separate. It combines the two and will give you a nice mix. Obviously, you're free to play through with the settings. Maybe you'd want two SM57s at different positions. We can hear that too quickly. So there you go. You can play with this live and just achieve the sound that you want. And again, this is all off of a direct input, completely clean guitar signal. All that's being added is the guitar amp sims and then the cab sim on top of it. So move on to a second one. I kept the Lapue rectifier. And to go with that, I downloaded the same company. They've got an impulse loader called Le Cab. With that, I downloaded some impulses that were also completely free separately. I'll try and include all the links to everything I'm using today in the description again. So if you guys hear anything you like, go ahead and download it. Like I said, it's free. I'm not going through absolutely everything. I just grabbed some random stuff in the batch. I downloaded 3 quite large zip files that again will be in the description of impulse for the cabs. I just grabbed some random ones. So for the rectifier, obviously I just went with some Mesa Boogie cabinet impulses. This is the Studio 22 for 4050 off axis 48. And then in the second channel I put in the same amp, but this time I went with an on-axis instead of off-axis. Again, I just grabbed 2 random ones. You can turn these on and off. You can just sync them together. See, that went ahead. And what's nice with this one is once you're in the folder, you can actually just click these arrows to switch between the options, or again, just click in there and then pick the one that you wanted. So again, I had the on-axis. I think that was the one. No, let's go with the same on-axis and off-axis. Again, I'll click through the options as it's playing. It's the exact same direct input track again across all of these. So we'll go ahead, unmute this. I'll turn off completely the Le Cab impulse loader, and we'll just start that off just to give you guys a refresher on what that sounded like. So this is the original direct input with just the rectifier amp simulator. So it's not a bad tone, but obviously it doesn't sound natural, and you'd probably want to add a cab simulator. So let's go ahead and listen to what this gives. So again, we'll just start that over and keep playing with a couple of the options. So again, I'm not mixing anything. This is literally just to give you guys a general idea of what's possible. It's probably not the best sound, but again, I haven't touched it. I haven't mixed it. It's literally just that dry signal and the amp and cab sims. So it's to give you guys an idea. So again, loads of options with this one. I just picked a random cabinet. There's a ton to pick from. If you want to click here, we can go through. See, this is just the second pack that I downloaded, all the different kind of things. If we go back up, we've got another one. This is all going to be included in the description. And then finally, we got a third one here that's a bit more named correctly, I guess. All right, so we had a bit of technical difficulty. I edited all that out. Important note, by the way, I just noticed this, and I guess it makes sense, but you'd think the program would be smart enough to deal with it. If you have a project like we have here with impulses loaded, my cab simulator impulses are loaded here, and you happen to move those folders, Sonar is apparently too stupid to give you a warning or anything. It just will not load your project and it will just crash. So important, put the impulses where you want them and don't touch them afterwards or start new projects. All right, so we're going to wrap up with the last track here, which was the Ignite Amps Emissary amp sim. Just a quick refresher, this is kind of what it sounded like. So that was just the raw direct input through that. Now, the last impulse loader we have here is called Nadir. It's by Ignite Amps as well. And it works pretty much the same. So you will pick your folder, go and select an impulse. In this case, I picked a rectifier. Just picked one randomly. You've again, unlike the Lapoo one, you've only got 2 instead of 3 on each side. Doesn't really matter if you really wanted to go to 3 cabs on each side for a stereo mix. Copy your track. I don't see why you'd ever record stereo guitar, to be honest with you guys. This is a nice feature if you want to set this to stereo output. If you're just jamming, but if you actually want to do a full production final mix, record that guitar part at least twice. It's going to sound way better than doing a fake kind of stereo thing. Anyway, that is a story for another day, and today we're just looking at cab simulators. So I went ahead and loaded this. What's nice about this one is you've got a high pass filter, a low pass filter. The delay is not to add actual delay, by the way. It's just if you're actually in stereo mode, it's to put a delay between the two. We're not in stereo today, so you're not going to hear that difference. Yeah, and you know, a volume. It's got the quality mode. Set it to extreme. I don't see why you'd ever want to set to anything else. You've got mono, dual mono, and stereo mode. We're just going to leave it to mono for now. That's how I record guitars, and like I said, I achieve the stereo effect by recording the same part multiple times and just panning it to the left and right. Balance between the two. So here, if we have 2 and we enable the 2, which one do we want? So we'd probably want it centered. In this case, I loaded the same ones. This would just be if you had impulses for different microphone positions, like we saw in, like I showed you with the 8505. You could probably just pan that in the middle or where you wanted it and have a different microphone placement on different cabs or the same cab and achieve just a mono sound with that mix. Anyway, like I said, we're not getting into full mixing today. This is just to give you guys an example. So we'll start that track again and we'll enable the impulse loader. So you saw there, I played around with it a bit. It's got the same option, so once you're in a folder, you can just use the arrows or click to pick the one you want. I fiddled around with the balance, put it right in the middle, and then just went ahead and picked a different impulse, and you saw the changes in the sounds. So again, this is just to give you guys an idea of what's possible, and all the links are going to be in the description below, so feel free to download them and enjoy. Later.